Good morning. The time has finally come for another kiln unloading. I loaded up this kiln on Friday around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's now Sunday at 10 a.m. The temperature is down to 123 degrees Fahrenheit, and our community studio does ask us to wait for the kiln to be below 130 so that we don't damage the elements or kiln bricks and don't damage anybody else's work that might be in here. So it is ready to unload. Let's get started. I've got all kinds of different projects in here that I've been working on for the last month and a half, including some little trinket dishes. I have a whole bunch of underglaze transfers that I'm trying to make my way through, and so I'm just using them as a nice little accent on some dishes. Nice place to toss your loose change when you want to empty out your pockets at the end of the day. Got some with some cute little woodland creatures. These work nice as a catch-all for jewelry, where to put your ring when you're washing dishes by hand. Take out your earrings at the end of the day. And with Halloween coming up, I have a few with some tarot cards. Not just for Halloween. And one with a wolf. And the next item are some soap dishes. So I made these using the scalloped soap dish cutter by Dela Design and Gifts. I put some little feet on the bottom, and they're not in the kiln here, but I do have some flat little plates to put underneath as well that will catch that soapy water that will drip off the bars of soap. And again, using up some transfers. This is a fun mandala design. Another one with the mandala. And this one I just layered a whole bunch of scrap pieces of underglaze transfers that I had. And another one, and this one might be my favorite, just for the abstract design of it. And again, with the little feet. So I just took the piece that cuts out from the middle here and used that for the bottom to elevate it a little bit. And these little guys were a summer project from a class through Clayshare with Jessica Putnam Phillips. Some garden worms. So these you can stick in a planter with dirt or in your garden. They've just got some googly eyes. I have some other ones that I put some hats on, but they didn't fit into this kiln load because I'll have to fire them upright. And some of them are quite tall, so they didn't quite make it in this load. Let's get to the next layer. And in this layer, I have some of the giving plates. So if this is the first time watching one of my kiln unloading videos, these are something I've been making since last year. The idea came out of seeing other giving plates or passing plates that were available for sale. And so I came up with my own little saying and had a stamp made to make these plates. And I originally started making them in the middle of the pandemic, which I know we're still not entirely out of, but I'm going to say that was early 2021, with the hopes that we were going to be coming out of it and being able to gather again with friends and family. So that's where the idea came to make these giving plates. So it says, the giving plate. This plate has no owner. Use it to share recipes and memories with friends and family. Fill it with food and gift it to someone you care about. The next person repeats the cycle. So it's a nice little pay it forward idea. Put some food on there, gift it to someone, and then they will do the same and keep it going. So I have 2 in that square pattern. And 2 in a round shape. So this is something new that I tried. These are going to become magnets. Well, some little daisy flowers using Amico Celadon glazes. So this one, the petals are Amico Marigold, and then I put some snow Celadon over top. Couple in blue. This is Amico Cobalt with some of the marigold in the center. This one is snow on the petals and cobalt in the middle. And then the last ones are cobalt on the petals and some snow in the middle. And I went really light on this one. Usually cobalt, even though it's a Celadon, it can be pretty opaque and usually covers texture, but I only did 1 coat or maybe 2 thin coats on this one. So it does show some of that detailing on the petals. Everything on that shelf. These half shelves are a little easier to move than full shelves. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to show these first. So with fall and Thanksgiving and Halloween coming up, I made pumpkins. And I am really happy with how the glaze came out. This is one of our club glazes called Cream Rust. And the last time I used it on some license plate mugs, it came out more rust than cream. So I don't think I had it thick enough. So these ones I held in the bucket a little bit longer to make sure they got a nice thick coat on them. So you can see how that breaks over the texture to show all of that detail. I had used a scoring tool to get the markings in the stem here and the leaves to show the pattern. And then I had used a dotted texture mat for the body. So I'm really happy with how those came out. That is exactly what I was looking for. So I've got 4 of those little pumpkins that are each a little bit different, different stems, different number and placement of the leaves on them. looks so cute as a centerpiece on the Thanksgiving table. I am really happy I held those under the glaze bucket a little bit longer. That came out perfect. So this is another class by Jessica Putnam Phillips, as were those pumpkins. Lots of stuff is through the ClayShare app and classes that she teaches. So I had made these before and wanted to make them again because they are just so darn cute. Some mini succulents. So these are really cute on an office desk or on a windowsill in your kitchen, and you never have to worry about watering them. You can leave them in a dark room for months or years at a time and never have to water or give them sunlight, and they will look exactly the same the next time you come back to them. So I've got a whole bunch of these in some fun colors. This is Mako Lime Showers that has some crystals in it. If I cover my face, it will stop. And this one is Amico Seaweed. Trying to show it, but the camera doesn't want to focus on this. It's focusing on my face. And this one is Mako Green something. Aurora Green, I think. Okay. A whole bunch more of those little succulents. I think they look so cute in groups of 3s when you get one of each color. And some of the other items I have in here are some bowls. I love this patterned rolling pin with the paisley and snowflake designs. That's in a nice teal blue. I thought would go nice with the snowflakes. And this was made using Della Designs bowl cutter template. She does lots of 3D printing for tools to use with clay, and so this gives you a nice little bowl. I have a couple of those. More of these little trinket dishes. This one has hedgehogs and squirrels. This one for a mountain theme with a fox and moose. And I've got these little trinkets that I got the idea to decorate from, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the Instagram handle, Lauren Ceramics, something like that. But as I'm brushing on glazes, instead of just washing the brush out in water and wasting it, to clean off the brush, she just scraped it into a little trinket dish, and I had a bunch of trinket dishes made up and bisqued that I was ready to glaze, so I thought that I would give that a try, and it's a nice way to not waste glaze and put less in with the water. So this is just a big mix of a whole bunch of different glazes. So they all came out a little bit different because they all have some different glazes in them. Those came out really pretty. Another little spot to put your ring or earrings. So depending on the glazes, they come out all different colors. So these ones, from doing those daisy magnets, I used those Celadon glazes and just scraped the leftovers into these dishes. So next few items in here are wheel-thrown bowls. I am mostly a hand builder. I tried the wheel when I first tried ceramics in 2019. It wasn't really for me. I got really frustrated. It was really hard, and having a full-time job, pottery is a hobby for me, so I didn't want to come to the studio, spend 3 hours throwing things and not actually making anything because not everything works out on the wheel. It can collapse into themselves and you just squish the clay into what's called rainbows so that it can dry out and you can try again. So after 3 hours of throwing, I sometimes just had 12 rainbows. So I didn't feel like I was accomplishing much and it wasn't much fun. So I stopped and focused on hand building, but now I want to try wheel throwing again. And so I bought myself a wheel for my home studio so I can play on that a couple of times. So far I've tried it twice and made a couple of bowls. So this is what I have from that little experiment. And they were a good opportunity to test out the sgraffito technique. So sgraffito is when you brush on underglaze when the pot is leather hard, so it hasn't been fired or dried yet. So it's temperature or the texture of like a leather belt for harder leather hard, or like a chocolate bar, so that you can carve into it and it's not really collapsing and losing its shape, and it's also not dry and crumbly because you want to be careful that you're not inhaling a lot of clay dust because that is not good for your lungs. So I was just playing around with some scratching and sgraffito on these. This is a nice size little bowl, and also using some underglaze transfers. So this one has some dogs on it. This one turned out nicely. I actually achieved a pattern on that one in sgraffito. Nice little sized bowl. I have a whole bunch of these bowls that I had wheel thrown back in 2019 when I first started, and I really need to work on my height because this is about as tall as I can get them right now. But these are the perfect size bowl for snacks. I actually use these at my house all the time. If I have a big bag of M&Ms and I don't want to find myself eating all of it in one sitting, I can portion it out into a little bowl like this and then take that and watch a movie instead of sitting there mindlessly eating a big party-sized bowl of snacks all by myself. Not to say I've never gone back for seconds. And so more wheel-thrown bowls that did not turn out so great. Got a little excited with the trimming. So these ones will be planters. And this one, I had high hopes that it was going to be a mug when I was first throwing it. That was my goal, of course, but it did not turn out. So practiced some sgraffito and carved "I was supposed to be a mug" as a constant reminder to never give up. And another little one carved up with just some simple lines, and will also be a planter. Okay, next layer. Alright, and this is the one that I was really excited about. There's a lot of stuff down here. This is where all of my mugs and wine cups are. Let's start with these forest mugs. This is another great rolling pin. This one is from Sweet Rolling Pins. with trees, moose, deer, bears, butterflies. Really fun forest pattern. A couple of those, really nice for the hiking or camping enthusiast. And I had made some of these and had them in the last kiln unloading I did. And this one didn't quite make it in there, but it fit in this one. Nice little succulent mug. So for this I had used the stamps by Dela Designs and also some silicone molds that I got off of Amazon to give that really fun three-dimensional effect. So really happy with how that came out. And some little wine cups. Getting ready for a bunch of markets coming up in the fall and getting closer to Christmas here. So thinking celebration time with some little wine or cocktail cups. So I did put a little texture on there, but the glaze got thick in some areas and kind of masked it, but I don't mind it. It's a nice little texture to make it different, including on the bottom. And so these square cutters are another great tool by Dela Design. I've got some in blue, and this had a tile pattern on the bottom, well, all over, but the glaze got a little bit thick. And so it's very, very subtle throughout it. It's still very pretty little cup. And you can see it a little bit more. These fun little viney floral patterns. So these, I used a silicone textured mat that's used for baking and decorating with fondant. But anything that works for baking works well for clay as well, because the texture of clay and fondant or dough are very similar. So you can use a lot of the same tools. This is another one of my favorite rolling pins. It has these pretty roses and lace and lattice pattern on it. And then I like to go in with some underglaze to really highlight the flowers. So this one I had done some yellow and green underglaze on before dipping in a teal celadon. So I've got two of those. Came out really nicely. And the last two pieces in here, I had used some real ferns that came in a bouquet, and I rolled those into the clay. I do have a video on my Instagram showing how I did that. So this is a little bud vase. You can just put a nice little stem of something in there for a cute little accent on a table or counter. And then this little cup also had some floral stuff pressed into the clay. This one was some kind of big leaf that was also in a bouquet, so rather than just throwing them away, I incorporated them into pottery. So that is everything that was in the kiln today. Thank you very much for watching.